I'll give you an example. One of the things that's a real tension point that doesn't get any conversation is the short-term rental issue in Asheville. So we're the second highest per capita of short-term rentals in the country.
Yeah.
And what that means is there are long-term rental units that are being used by short-term rentals.
So like the Airbnb,
Airbnbs,
that was the
yeah.
laws that you guys
Right.
recently passed.
So
right?
people who need long-term rental housing are being displaced by this short-term rental. And you could kind of think, well, that's not that big a deal. But it really is a big deal.
And it's everywhere.
It absolutely does. And right now, the state legislature has been having this ongoing conversation in the last few weeks about preempting cities, stopping cities from regulating short-term rentals at all. And right now, Asheville has banned them so that you can't do a whole house or a whole condo or a whole apartment, whatever.
In the whole city
In
or
the
just
whole
downtown?
city, we have banned them.
Okay.
But there's a bunch in the downtown that are grandfathered.
Okay.
But what you can do in Asheville is you can Airbnb. You can, meaning if you have a home, even if you're renting a home, you can do a short-term rental or Airbnb of a couple, up to 2 bedrooms in your home.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm getting into all kinds of policy. But if the legislature were to pass this legislation, it would just open the floodgates. And 50% of Asheville rents.
Yeah.
So it would make our bad situation for rental housing way worse.
And I'm going to break that down for people who may not understand. If I have a home and I can charge $300 a night, why would I take $1,500 a month? Right. So if I can Airbnb out my bedroom, like why would I rent to a stable person? Because I can just keep reflipping that money over. So it's important that we watch that law.
So we tried to, we struck a compromise because people said, I need my home to be affordable for me. So I need to be able to rent out a bedroom in my home. And we said, okay, we're going to call that a homestay and you can do it. But if it's your second home, you can't do it. So anyway, I just bring that up because that could really shift things for us.
Absolutely.
So education, education happens on a state level, but we've seen a lot of different things happening in Asheville City schools, a lot of numbers that are really scary to everybody. What is being done on a city level to make a real impact on how kids of color are learning and finding equitable opportunities?
I'm glad you asked this question. So we talked a little bit before the show. I have 2 kids in Asheville City School System, and my husband's a teacher. This is near and dear to my heart. And we had, I believe it was last October, we had a joint meeting with the school board. The city council appoints the school board and the superintendent. And that's where the school system presented numbers that show an incredible disparity in the testing levels of our minority students versus our white students. And even when accounting for poverty, there's still a difference, meaning if you're white and poor, you're still coming out with better test scores than if you're a minority student and poor. So what we did at that point was working with our new city manager, Deborah Campbell, who I hope you have on your show one day. She's fabulous. I got on my computer and started studying what some other school systems have done to try to address issues like this. And I had some conversations with people about it. And the superintendent at that time and the school board and others were receptive to creating a collaboration to look at a community-wide way to address this, recognizing that you can't hope to change education outcomes just by working in the school system, because that's not how people work, right? They're not just going to school. They're experiencing all kinds of other things happening to them all day long and all night long. So we pulled together a group, and I will say it was meeting pretty regularly, and then the superintendent left, and now, of course, there's a new search for a superintendent. So, but I just spoke with the city manager last week, and the effort is picking back up. And that, they have this sort of broken down into different key areas that they think need to be addressed to sort of address the whole student. Right. So that, I think it's obviously going to be a long-term effort, but it feels different than past efforts. This has been an issue for a long time, as you know.
Since I've been here, there have been several superintendents. I think that's another issue, that leadership piece. What's being done to make sure that when a superintendent does come, I feel like we've lost a lot of good superintendents. like what can be done to keep them here, to keep them engaged in the system so that they don't leave and say get better jobs or promotions or whatever's happening with them?
Well, if you know the answer to that, can you be on the hiring committee?
Yeah.
I know, please.
I have a consulting fee, but I like tackling issues.
Well, you know, our city is not for the faint of heart. I mean, I think we definitely are challenging for superintendents. You know, this is, so there have been a number of different issues, but I'm very hopeful that we'll get it right. I mean, the same can be said for our police chief situation. I mean, we've had more chiefs in that time than we have superintendents even. So,
oh wow,
yeah, right. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty challenging post for people, and it's really hard to know if the fit is going to be right until somebody is here. But I will say this: I greatly appreciated the school system's listening and input sessions this time around. Looking for a superintendent, they have used some new techniques to engage the community. And I think that's really important because I think there has been a sense that the communication with the administration and the parents and families was a little bit disconnected.
Right. Yeah, they have been really consistent with the emails and the texts and surveys and inviting everybody to be in forums and inviting people to be involved in the hiring process. And it's the first time we've done that. We really haven't done that before. I mean, we put it out there, but it's never been like, really, this is take your survey right here. This is a text reminding you to do this because you're involved in this. And I think the community already appreciates it. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
So my question to you is about environmental rights. So I know that there are some environmental conversations that are happening around climate control, energy, and Duke Energy. It's always a big one. The fracking, like all these things, like what is Asheville doing that you're most proud of in terms of environmental rights and environmental activism here?
Well, we've been a leader in the state in terms of environmental initiatives, and we've gotten a lot of recognition for different things. So, gosh, when you say most proud, you know, I mean, I guess I'm most proud that we have the structure in place that has a whole to-do list that we continue to keep working on. So the city of Asheville's municipal functions, we have a goal to reduce our carbon footprint, and that might mean zero emission buses, or it might, you know, getting hybrid vehicles in our fleet, retrofitting buildings so they're more energy efficient. We also have this energy innovation task force now that is a collaboration with the county and with Duke and solar industry and other environmental partners that looks to how to help the whole community think about reducing our energy demand. And Duke has just announced that they will not add the third peaker plant to the new Long Shoals plant, which just got changed from coal to natural gas. So that's really exciting because we are an energy user. This community is a serious energy user. Personally, I'm super excited because after 600 community meetings, Duke has agreed to build one of their first GIS substations. So for people like, I love utilities. I just want you to write. I'm like a total utilities. I love utilities.
You just mean electricity, right? Because I like electricity.
I like electricity, water, sewer, you name it. But down Patton Avenue, where the old Volvo site is, dealership, they're going to build a gas-insulated substation, which is like you think of a typical substation of those big open air with all the wires and things. This is going to be shrunk down because it's gas insulated. It can be really small and enclosed in a building. So a very urban way to do a substation, kind of newer technology. That's really exciting because they need to put a substation in downtown, and no one was having it. They didn't, you know.
Substations, those big green things with the little spirals.
It's a big. That's
okay.
Very good. Yes.
I was like.
Yeah, that's right. And in fact, I just went down to a utility conference in Raleigh and presented that whole outcome because it started with them wanting to put the new substation next to Isaac Dixon and 600 angry parents in a gym saying, that's not going to work. So we've come a long way, and that's been a really interesting partnership. But We have green bonds. We're the first city in North Carolina to issue green bonds, which are bonds debt financing used to do infrastructure upgrades that are sustainable or green. So ours are around our water system.
Okay.
And I got to go to Bloomberg. Bloomberg does a whole bunch of environmental conferences, and I got to go up to New York and talk about green bonds to a bunch of utility nerd people, and it was super fun.
She sounds like me at a work camp. Me and Sarah's like, it's fun. So what do you think we need to do, or what aren't we not doing? What do you think we should be paying attention to that we're not? Because I know you're working really hard and you're saying, I'm trying to get this done. What can we do
Yes.
to help you, or what do you want to see get done that you need the citizens' help for?
Well, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, do you feel like there's something going on that...
I hate the parking.
I was going to say
I'm
the
just
same
going to
thing.
tell you right now, I hate parking.
I don't drive. I've got my little green footprint right there. I don't drive.
Good for you.
You mean not being able to find a parking space is what you're talking about?
Like, I was upset in here last month because I backed into a parking spot and I read in AAA, like the best way to park is to back in, and I got a ticket anyway.
Oh, because you were on one of the angled parking spaces?
Yeah,
I know.
so you got to find another
You're
parking
not allowed
space.
to do that. I know. Isn't that interesting?
And that's fine, but next time, can you send a tweet or a text back? Like, can you do that for me?
I know.
So
I feel
won't
like
break law.
there should be some way to get a warning about that, because people are surprised by that rule.
Yeah.
Did you know that was a rule? No, it's an angled parking space on, like around the Grove Arcade.
Yeah.
You can't back into those with your nose facing out.
Even if they're doing construction on the
that's the
street.
thing.
and you
Not
can't
a
see.
lot of people know that.
I know.
Almost nobody knows
Yeah,
that.
so that, and then the other thing that I would change, I'm just saying, and I'm
big
always
changes we need to make.
I'm always for hire. But this other thing is this is really important to me. Like, I need to see more entertainment that is not alcohol focused, that will bring my people. I want to see Black people come here, like they go to Miami, like they go to New York, like they go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I want them to come spend their money here. I want my artists here. I want to see Big Frida. Like, I want her to come here. I want to see more of people that look like me and that are viewed as talent from all over, not just the United States, but the world.
Do you feel like when you go downtown, I don't know if you go downtown, but when you walk around Asheville, are you noticing a change in the visitors to our city?
Yes.
Do you see any differences?
I've noticed a change.
Yeah.
It's definitely more of an upper class scale. It used to be like more like people come to Asheville to go check out the mountains. And I've noticed that it's very much people coming here to wine and dine and stay at the nice hotels, which is a difference. And on touching on what Aisha said, I know that back when I went to Asheville High School and we'd love to go hang out downtown, a lot of my friends of color would say, I don't want to go downtown, that's for white people.
Right, right. I had kids say
But
that.
you
too.
had a Black person in the commercial. I was in Birmingham last week, and I finally saw a Black person in the commercial, and I was like, was that a commercial for Asheville? I was super excited, and he went to Asheville High. You know him, and he works over there at Pax Tavern, the guy who was in the video.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think he's in Taurus, I think.
Oh yeah,
he was in the video, the commercial.
He's a
But
kid
I
of
felt
ours.
like, again, I was like, this commercial is about dogs and beer. Like, I went, like we have so much to offer here in Asheville. Like, for me, I just want to be able to say, like, come see the art, come see the mountains, come and meet the amazing people. And I'm really interested in seeing us do, like you said, more business stuff, because we have a really beautiful entrepreneurship community with a lot of heart and a lot to offer.
That's good input. I mean, I think those are important points. Now, let me just say, just to clarify on that, you advertise, so the Tourism Development Authority, which is a separate entity from the city, advertises the city. So when you go to Birmingham and see those ads, that's the room tax, which doesn't come to the city, which is advertising Asheville, which is interesting because people will send us communications saying, how come you're advertising beer and not, I'm not advertising anything.
So that's just tell us, we need to get somebody from tourism here to tell them we don't want it to be about beer and dogs. We want it to be about business and money.
You know what's interesting though? I wonder because we know statistically that still the number one draw to Asheville is, do you know what it is?
Beer.
Nope.
No,
not even
mountains.
close. Not even close.
The Leafs.
It's the Biltmore House.
Yes,
Oh, the biggest beer is like this. Biltmore House is like this.
Wow.
Well, that was in the commercial too.
And do you know what's second?
What?
Is the Parkway.
Yeah.
And
The
then
leaves, the
third
changing leaves
is arts and crafts.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's like,
That's
pottery and glass
Right.
and things like that.
Craft
and it's
shows.
beer. People think it's all beer, but I think from a tourism economy perspective, the 70-year-old that spends $2,000 on a piece of art is way more bang for your buck than the 30-year-old that drinks a couple beers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of more the formula. But I see how it feels, but I hear what you're saying. I mean, I feel like when I walk around downtown Asheville, it's feeling a little different than it did when I was a
I'm
kid.
definitely seeing
moving
more
here.
people of color,
Definitely,
right? Like we used to
definitely.
have a game, and my husband would be like, "Black person, look," and we clap, and we'd be like, "Hey," And now I am seeing more people of color. So I know that that the tourism people are doing what they should be.
I have noticed that, and so I'm wondering where that's all headed, and because I think people we're going to continue to be a growing destination, so we're going to have to figure all that out. Okay, now I want to say something about parking. So to build a public parking space is $17,000.
Okay.
Without land acquisition.
Okay.
So that's a lot of money, and I hate to say this, but sort of the real thinking about smart urban planning is that cities that are really growing don't build parking.
Exactly.
Because eventually it'll be like what you're talking about, and you won't have a car. So now I think for a lot of people still in Asheville, they're like, okay, no, I cannot conceive of this. I'm not.
I lived in DC, and
grew up
I
in
parked
Morocco,
my
so
car,
we
and
walked
I
everywhere.
never.
Yeah.
I'm all about being sexy and walking, so that works for me. It's just I need more sliders, more access to get around easier.
Okay, so then my final push for this is everyone needs to put the Asheville app on their smartphone. Do you have the Asheville app on your smartphone?
No.
Okay. So, first of all, the opening page of the Asheville app has two choices. One, report a problem, which is like pothole, water leak, whatever, dead animal. I mean, that's one of the choices. Tree down. But then the other choice is find parking. And we have every single city deck and county deck in that app with real-time parking. So if a deck's full, it'll say 0 spaces.
tell you, wow.
It tells you exactly
That's
how many
so
spaces
cool.
are available, right? And you can then hit the deck you want, and it has a little GPS thing to show you how to get there.
Okay, y'all need to hire me for marketing because everybody needs to know about this. Look at all the people that are downloading this app right
look at that.
now.
I know. Give me my phone.
We want to be engaged citizens. We want to do the work. I think a big part of it is figuring out where to get the information to do the
You
work.
get that Asheville app on your phone, and you can be such a participant.
I love that.
My mom
I love
yesterday, we were walking, and she was like, "Look at my stop sign. The ivy's grown over my sign." And she says, "I'm having a class at my house. No one will be able to find my street." I said, "Well, Mom, we need to report this on the Asheville app."
Yeah.
She was like, "Well, how do we do that?" I said, "Well, it'll even let you take a picture.
Wow.
It'll locate where you are and say, is this where you are?" And then you put in the problem, and you can take a picture.
I love that.
Okay, put that on your Facebook today, and I'm going to share it. Because we need this. That's the good stuff.
We
and
do.
then because I'm always on your Facebook, and people are like, everybody's like, "We love you," and there's always this one person that's like,
I
"Wait,
hate you."
we hate you." We can spam them with the Asheville app until they, feel better about the situation.
I know you hate me, but have you tried the Asheville app?
You'll like it. You'll change your mind. No, that's really, really good.
We appreciate you so much for
yes.
taking the time out
Well,
to
thank you.
come and to talk to us.
You guys are super fun.
And
you.
you're
You are so
fun.
you.
And tell your kids that we give you the green light for cool. So you get to be cool this school year.
I know.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You
I have
dance,
all
you
these
share
cool
your love for
points.
tequila.
I'm
I
lending
mean-
you some of them. And we just thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And that's our show. We'll see you next week on the Asheville View. Bye.